Welcome on board Shibani Sarkar Kurian, Senior Vice President and Head Equity Research at Kotak Mahindra AMC, joining us on the show right now. Shibani, hi, afternoon. As we wind down 2018, what cues do you think the market is going to be deriving further direction from? Because, you know, clearly it's been established the way the markets have panned out for the better part of 2018, that in some sense we are a little decoupled from the way the global markets have panned out.
2019, we believe, will be more of an inflection point where we are fairly constructive on the market. Near term, in the run-up to the general elections, there could be some degree of volatility, but clearly macro risks have abated and there are clear signs of earnings growth coming back. Also, what we have noticed is that if you're looking at valuations, especially the mid-cap valuations relative to the Nifty large-cap valuations are now back to 2014 levels, which is where the initial part of the mid-cap bull run really started. And this is similar for the small caps as well. And therefore, with the correction that you've seen on the mid-cap space and valuations being very reasonable, we believe that at this point in time, there is definitely selective opportunity in the mid and the small cap arena. Of course, the caveat being that we are looking at companies which are high growth and high quality, which have stable balance sheets and stable management. So I think 2019 overall will be an interesting and a constructive year for the market with some degree of near-term volatility in the run-up to the elections.
Vani, hi there, good afternoon. As part of your top sectoral bets, I see capital goods, and while the sector is definitely showing early signs of recovery, we are seeing smaller size capex that has begun to come on stream. The direction of crude oil prices remains a big risk. The shrinkage in liquidity as well is a big overhang, as well as the global protectionist policies. How do you see the road ahead for the capital goods sector, and what do you think, you know, the general elections could perhaps bring for it in terms of the overall cycle gaining traction or not?
Yeah, so capital goods as a sector, which is one sector we believe that if you have a slightly longer term horizon of about 18 to 24 months, this could be an interesting sector to really be in. So if you looked at the last few years, most of the investment growth or capex has essentially been driven by public capex, specifically in roads and railways. We believe that the scenario is now changing towards initial signs of private capex pickup, and a few key reasons for this. One is across a few sectors, we have seen capacity utilization levels improving and now coming back to longer term averages. It's still not at its peak, but it has significantly improved. Also, a lot of banks which were struggling with NPL issues now are seeing signs of incremental stress and delinquencies coming off, and therefore there is willingness to lend once again to the corporate space. So if you have a slightly longer term horizon, this is one area where we believe that there could be revival, especially in terms of private capex spends. Also, when we talk to companies in terms of their order inflows and their order books, there are again signs of a pickup. So yes, this is a sector which we believe that in the near term, while it could still take time, but over a 18 to 24 month period, there would be definite revival.
Right. Aside of cap goods, Shibani, where else do you find value?
So another sector where we are positive on has been the private corporate banking space. So the way we've essentially structured our portfolio in the banking sector is that we've played the retail private sector banks as structural themes which are more compounding stories given their high ROEs. But at the margin over the last few months, we believe that private corporate banks is an interesting space, essentially because of one reason, as I mentioned earlier, signs of delinquencies coming down, especially in the corporate side, which means asset quality stress and credit costs will start abating. Also, these banks have really worked hard on their liability profile, and their liability profile is extremely strong. And on the asset side as well, the retail book is growing at a faster pace than the overall market. So these banks are now well poised to seek improvement in terms of their core operating performance, and that should flow through in terms of better ROEs and earnings growth for next year. So that's again one space where we are positive on.
Shivani, in your sectoral bets, there's one sector, chemicals, and you're liking that. That's the reason, you know, it's a top sectoral bet. But my question to you is, a lot of you know, experts do come on our channel. They talk about that there are issues related to what's happening in chemical space in China and regulatory issues. That's the reason it's an advantage to companies in India, and that's the reason this sector is looking attractive. But within chemical sector, which space, and I don't want you to take stock names, and I understand you can't talk stock specific, but which space within chemicals you see that there is not just this regulatory advantage, but also the growth which is substantially higher than other aspects of chemicals?
Yeah. So I think we are positive on the sector as a whole, and while we spoke about the regulatory aspect of what's happening in China because of pollution, etc., and the cost advantage now flowing through to India, what we have seen overall in the chemical space is that if you look over a long term, we've seen that clearly market share shifts happening between countries. So there was a point in time when US was a dominant player, that market share shifted to China. Today, actually, India's market share in the entire global chemical space is low single digit, and therefore the opportunity to grow off this low base is something that is significant. Secondly, apart from what's happening in terms of China, is that there is a lot of investments that Indian companies have done in terms of R&D as well as setting up infrastructure in the country, and that is also helping the entire sector in terms of growth. So essentially, from a sectoral perspective, we believe that growth can be significantly high off a low base, yes, and therefore there is a time for India to actually gain market share. And as we saw that big market share shift happening many years ago between US and China, it is possible that today would be over the next few years that India could see that market share shift happening from China.
Okay, what is it that we're doing when it comes to the market? We flattened that completely actually. So 10,920 is where we're currently at for the Nifty futures. The breadth as well, while it continues to favor the declines, it's a 2:1 ratio that you're still maintaining in favor of the advances. But you've got pressure coming in from Infratel, from Enar Power, from PC Jewellers, Allahabad Bank, L&T Finance. These are some of the stocks which are still the laggards. And within that, there's also Axis Bank, there's BPCL, there's TCS, Reliance and Wipro, which are also the laggards. Shivani, just wanted your perspective on how IT is likely to pan out, and do you think growth and momentum will sustain for the sector stepping into 2019 too, or do you think it will be a much slower move as opposed to what we've seen in 2018?
Yeah, so IT clearly was the star of 2018, given the fact also that there were signs of some amount of demand revival and the currency acted as a tailwind. The sharp depreciation of the currency that we saw in 2018 is unlikely to be repeated in 2019 is our view, while there will be a mild depreciating bias, but it would not be as sharp as what we saw in 2018. So IT, what we've, the way we are looking at IT is that the kind of up move that you saw in 2018, it would be a much more stable sort of move from here on. Clearly, when we are speaking to companies, they are optimistic that growth in 2019 from a demand perspective would be marginally better than 2018. We have still got to see that really playing out. The key risk would be what really happens to the US economy. If the economy slows down marginally, it's still fine for the sector. However, if there is a hard landing and there is a sharp slowdown in terms of GDP growth in the US economy, that would have a bearing in terms of demand outlook for the sector. As of now, we are building in some sort of improvement in terms of overall demand growth. Margins, obviously, from what we saw, given the tailwind of the rupee, margins would see some degree of pressure, or let me put it this way, the best of the margins would be behind us. In terms of valuations, the large cap IT space still looks fairly reasonable. These are cash generating companies, and they return cash back to the shareholders, and therefore valuations are fairly reasonable on the larger cap space. In the mid cap space, there would be select opportunities where growth remains buoyant. However, it would not be a scenario that you saw in 2018 where the entire mid cap space really rallied sharply. So it would be in comparison definitely a slightly more muted year in 2019 for IT as a whole.
Okay, what is it that we're doing when it comes to the market? We flattened that completely actually. So 10,920 is where we're currently at for the Nifty futures. The breadth as well, while it continues to favor the declines, it's a 2:1 ratio that you're still maintaining in favor of the advances. But you've got pressure coming in from Infratel, from Enar Power, from PC Jewellers, Allahabad Bank, L&T Finance. These are some of the stocks which are still the laggards. And within that, there's also Axis Bank, there's BPCL, there's TCS, Reliance and Wipro, which are also the laggards. Shivani, just wanted your perspective on how IT is likely to pan out, and do you think growth and momentum will sustain for the sector stepping into 2019 too, or do you think it will be a much slower move as opposed to what we've seen in 2018?
Yeah, so IT clearly was the star of 2018, given the fact also that there were signs of some amount of demand revival and the currency acted as a tailwind. The sharp depreciation of the currency that we saw in 2018 is unlikely to be repeated in 2019 is our view, while there will be a mild depreciating bias, but it would not be as sharp as what we saw in 2018. So IT, the way we are looking at IT is that the kind of up move that you saw in 2018, it would be a much more stable sort of move from here on. Clearly, when we are speaking to companies, they are optimistic that growth in 2019 from a demand perspective would be marginally better than 2018. We have still got to see that really playing out. The key risk would be what really happens to the US economy. If the economy slows down marginally, it's still fine for the sector. However, if there is a hard landing and there is a sharp slowdown in terms of GDP growth in the US economy, that would have a bearing in terms of demand outlook for the sector. As of now, we are building in some sort of improvement in terms of overall demand growth. Margins, obviously, from what we saw, given the tailwind of the rupee, margins would see some degree of pressure, or let me put it this way, the best of the margins would be behind us. In terms of valuations, the large cap IT space still looks fairly reasonable. These are cash generating companies and they return cash back to the shareholders, and therefore valuations are fairly reasonable on the larger cap space. In the mid cap space, there would be select opportunities where growth remains buoyant. However, it would not be a scenario that you saw in 2018 where the entire mid cap space really rallied sharply. So it would be in comparison definitely a slightly more muted year in 2019 for IT as a whole.
All right, stay on with us, Shibani. Lots more to chat about, but for now, let's keep it with news within the banking space. The big headline: Kotak Mahindra Bank in focus. Today, it's trading with mild losses, and remember, RBI's deadline for Uday Kotak to pay his stake in the lender ends today. And the Economic Times is reporting that the central bank may choose to wait for the Bombay High Court's ruling on the case that comes up for hearing on the 17th of January. Let's get in Neha Botra, who joins in with all the details. Neha, fill us in on what's transpired and what the way ahead is for Kotak Bank.
Today's the deadline for Uday Kotak to cut his promoter's stake in Kotak Mahindra Bank. Remember, RBI requires the promoter holding to be below 20% as far as 31st December deadline is concerned, which further needs to be reduced to 15% by March 2019. However, do remember that in August, Kotak Mahindra Bank had issued perpetual non-convertible preference shares to raise about 500 crore rupees, which in effect technically reduced the promoter shareholding in the bank to a shade below 20%. And this, Uday Kotak had maintained, was in compliance with RBI norms. However, the central bank did not see this in spirit of the law, saying that technically the promoter stake did come down, but this did not abide with the general principle which was put in place to ensure that there is no concentration of a single owner in the bank, and this purpose they felt was defeated. There was much to and fro as far as communication is concerned, but this month something which is never really seen before happened when Kotak Mahindra Bank dragged RBI to the Bombay High Court, seeking the Bombay High Court to step in and put a stay as far as the order to comply with the 31st deadline is concerned. This, of course, was not given way, and the next hearing is on the 17th of January. Till then, remains to be seen whether RBI will play ball or they'll choose to review the matter with a fresh eye. But today, of course, is the big day when the deadline to cut stake ends.
Okay, that's the update on Kotak Bank and the fact that Uday Kotak has to bring down his stake in the bank. But in the meantime, let's just focus on what the market is up to. We've completely fizzled out from the top, but consolidating and latching on to 10,900 so far. Shibani, tactically, do you believe that 2019 maybe we'll see a re-emergence of the small and mid caps, which had clearly taken a backseat all of the past year?
Yeah, so our belief is that the kind of correction that you've seen in the mid-cap space and the small-cap space clearly presents an opportunity. We have to be selective, yes, focus on companies which are high growth and good quality companies. But given the fact that mid-cap valuations relative to the large-cap valuations are now at levels which are at 2014 kind of lows, we believe that there is definite opportunity in the mid and the small cap space. One has to be selective in terms of stock picking and clearly have a horizon of 18 to 24 months. Near term, clearly there could be some degree of volatility, but there is definite opportunity in the mid and the small cap space.
A lot of opportunity in the broader end of the market.
Shivani, wanted to get your sense on what we're likely to hear from Motown, because come tomorrow it's the 1st of the month and we will have the December sales data come in. Do you think we will continue to see what we've seen in the past 3 months, a slowdown across categories, CV, PVs as well as two-wheelers?
Yeah, so it's a difficult time for the auto space. While over the medium term we are still structurally positive on autos, but near term clearly there is pressure, and what we've seen in terms of slowdown, especially in the case of CVs and even in case of passenger vehicles, possibly could continue for some time given the fact that demand trends are weak. While rural demand has been better than urban demand, the huge pickup that was expected in rural demand is yet to play out. Also from a CV and tractor space, the kind of the cycle that we've seen over the last few years, it's possible that the cycle is coming close to its end. So that is something that we need to be cognizant of. So yes, near term there could be pressure on the space, and this would be a slightly difficult area to navigate. Over the medium term, we do believe that once things really settle down, demand would start to revive in pockets, and over the medium term we remain structurally positive, but near term, yes, there would be pressures.
Shivani, what's happening in NBFC space? Last 2 months have been nothing less than roller coaster ride for NBFCs. And now we are seeing a comeback in these names, and I'm not just talking from a stock price perspective, but also yields have not spiked up. At least I'm not talking about 10-year bond yield, but at the rate at which this NBFCs are raising funds. What's your outlook? Because a lot of people are now talking that NBFCs might lose their market share to banks. The story which was completely reversed, a couple of years back. What's your thought?
Yeah. So yes, you hit the nail on the head when you said that there could be a scenario where NBFCs lose market share from here on to banks. Over the last, say, 5-6 years, we've seen stupendous growth of the NBFC sector, where they were clearly growing at a pace faster than the overall industry and the overall space. And that resulted in the ALM mismatches, which resulted in the trouble that we have seen today. But however, does that mean that we paint the entire NBFC sector with the same brush? The answer would be no. Clearly, there are NBFCs who have been very prudent in their ALM management, which are growing and continue to grow at a fast pace. These NBFCs will possibly gain market share, and they will, kind of emerge as superheroes. But as a space, as a whole, the kind of growth that we saw in the past few years, that kind of growth rate would clearly come off. And private sector banks at this point in time are in a sweet spot. So far they were gaining market share only from PSU banks, but they will gain now market share from PSU banks as well as from a select few NBFCs. From a liquidity perspective, the kind of liquidity tightness that we had seen in the market post the IL&FS crisis, that tightness has abated at the margin. However, the kind of growth that we saw, for that you need long-term funding, and long-term funding coming at low costs, both of which will still take some time to really revert back. So yes, at the margin, growth for the sector would be a challenge, and we believe that there would be a few players who would emerge stronger, but as a sector as a whole, growth rates would be slower than what we have seen over the past few years.
No doubt that unprecedented NBFC crisis as well is going to keep investors really on tenterhooks. But Shibani, it's been lovely chatting with you. Many thanks for joining in, and wishing you and your team a very happy 2019.
Thank you so much. Thank you.